What's up YouTube, Barcode here, bringing you another Epic 7 video. This video is going to be about the Holy Trinity comp that is now dead of Ricorous, Elson, and Tiara. I want to just theory craft some different compositions of what I think is the best composition for it comparably now, after the nerf from them. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I want to talk about the possibilities of this team comp. There's a lot of different comps that you could actually do. I'll talk about some just 3-star comps that you could do, some 4-star comps. I'll talk about one L&D character that you could probably bring, 1.5. I'll say 1.5, and then I'll bring out my optimal free-to-play account that is comparable as best as I can to a Holy Trinity. So let's talk about some 3-star comps, okay? And well, let's just go into characters first, okay? Let's talk about Hazel. She has the attack buff. That's pretty much all she brings. Before I talk about that, actually, let's just talk about what the Holy Trinity brings, right? So it brought the attack up buff for the team, defense up buff for the team, which is very hard to find now, especially since Elson's cooldown is so long. It's very hard to find it. The lower attack on a single target, heal over time for the team, speed up for the team, a strip, combat readiness increase for the whole team, and a defense break. Okay, so that's everything that the Holy Trinity brought. So again, Hazel, she brings an attack buff, right? You have Basque, who brings a barrier, which can be kind of substituted for some kind of sustain. You know, the Holy Trinity didn't have a barrier, but you know, since you can't really find a lot of people that have defense buff besides Elson or Maya, and some higher star characters, you know, Basque brings a barrier, which is okay, and he also brings a strip, immunity, and a lower attack. So pretty good for a free to play. Jekt, which is nature. There's a lot of, this is going to be a lot of nature characters, by the way, because there's a lot of underrated nature characters, I think. So Jekt brings speed up, continuous healing to the team, a single target cleanse every turn he takes, and then a decreased hit chance. We also have Ruzid, who's very good as well. Combat readiness increase and speed increase, lower attack, and a lower speed. Okay. We also have Helga, which brings an attack buff, and a defense break. Okay, and then last but not least, which is pretty a main character to kind of go for, is Falcon Artillery. Has defense break, provoke, strip, defense break. Did I say that? AoE sustain when you skill her up in her enhancement tree, random combat readiness to a single target. It's so much that Clary brings, so I'll talk about her later, obviously. Some 4-star heroes that I want to talk about. We have Shuri. Okay, very hard to build, but very good for combat readiness increase. He also brings a poison and decreased combat readiness AoE, but on a lot of bosses like Wyvern, for example, you know, you can't decrease combat readiness, so that's an issue. Maya only brings a defense buff for the whole team, but is a stun locking machine. Rose, combat readiness, attack buff. Where is she? Right here. Combat readiness, attack buff for the whole team. A barrier on one ally, provoke, self defense buff, but whatever. And one of my OP underrated units, maybe not underrated, but lots. Okay, so tons of combat readiness for the whole team, which is 20% when you skill them up. I want a 3-turn skill cooldown. Okay, continuous healing for everybody, 100% increased combat readiness to a single target, and that's also a single target heal when you skill that up, and then a decreased attack. Okay, you have another underrated character is Rin, which a lot of people don't really get or understand just because of the whole random buffs thing, but she can be really good, especially built on speed. But it has heal plus barrier type skill with 2 random buffs, a defense break, and a strip, and the strip can also be used on the second skill. We also have Silk, easily obtainable free to play, AoE speed up on team, AoE speed down on the enemy, and decrease single target combat readiness. So great free to play character. And then there's Arman. Arman has the AoE barrier with the heal, Also has decreased hit chance with poison, which is huge, self-defense buff, and then has a stun. Okay, so those are some 3-star and 4-star characters that I want to kind of focus on when you theory craft and build a team that's kind of like Holy Trinity. And the one light and dark character, which I'm only going to talk about a 3-star because it's a lot easier to obtain free to play than it would be like a 4-star or 5-star light and dark, and that's Requiem Roar. Okay, defense break, lower attack, a little bit of sustain, and combat readiness of all allies. So definitely an awesome character to use. Okay, so we talked about I'll talk about my half L&D character. Okay, and that's still Ricorous. Okay, his skill cooldown was increased. However, it goes down to 5 skill cooldowns, but if there's a lot of combat readiness and a lot of stuff, he has a strip, he has a defense break, he has increased speed and a skill cooldown on all allies. Okay, so can be good. And I talked about a video before where Ricorous was the MVP of the Holy Trinity comp anyway, so I still feel like he can be useful depending on the team comp. But that's just my opinion, and my opinion is my opinion. So let's talk about some 3-star comps, just 3-star, out of all those characters that would probably be the best situation. Okay, first we'll go with Falcon Artillery. Okay, so Falcon Artillery, she's going to be pretty much your main staple, which I'm still working on. Freaking scrub. Anyway, so defense break, provoke. Okay, this a strip, heals, sustain for the whole team, kind of like a heal over time every time she takes a turn when you skill it up in the enhancement. So very good. Okay, so that'd be your first and foremost, right? Then you could go with Jet or Rused, depending up who you want and as your attack buffer. Okay, if you go with Jet, then you could go like Clary, Jekt. It's very nature heavy, but Clary, Jekt, and Helga. Okay, so Jekt will bring the speed up. It'll bring the heal over time. It'll also bring a single target cleanse in case one of your characters gets armor broken or whatever the case may be. But if you use Jekt, then you might as well just go with Helga for another defense break and an attack up for your team. Okay, if you go with, instead of Jekt, if you go with, say, Rused for speed up for the whole team and combat readiness, and a lower attack, lower speed on single targets, then I would go with Hazel. So you're dealing with, it's either Clary, Jekt, or Helga for a 3-star comp, or you could go with Clary, Rused, Hazel for a different 3-star Holy Trinity type of comp. Okay, and this is no LNDs, anything like that, just normal elements. You can get these characters off of summons easily, and even, you know, half of them is through your connections. Okay, one person I do want to kind of bring up and kind of throw in the loop is Basque. So Basque can kind of be your if you don't want to use, say, for example, like Hazel or maybe like Jekt, for example. You could go like Clary, Basque, and then you know, Hazel, or Clary, Basque, Jekt, or even Basque, Jekt, and you know, Helga, something like that, right? That would be another kind of 3-star comp that you could go for. Now, what I really want to talk about is these 4-star comp, right? So I have a 4-star comp that pretty much is, in my opinion, the new Holy Trinity. Okay, now the Holy Trinity was great previously because it was all 3-star characters that you'd easily obtain: Elson, Ricorous, and Tiara, right? Easily obtainable. Now this 4-star comp, which should be kind of, the Holy Trinity should have been a 4-star comp to begin with, because it should be a harder to obtain composition of characters. But I want to talk about this 4-star comp, which will pretty much bring everything you need. Okay, first and foremost, I want to talk about Lots. Okay, so Lots is going to have AoE healing, like I talked about, combat readiness of 20% when skilled up on a 3-turn skill cooldown, single target combat readiness of 100% when fully skilled, and a single target heal, and then a decreased attack. Okay, to go with Lots would be Rin. So Rin, barrier and a heal for AoE, 2 random buffs, and that could be a ton of different random buffs, right? I mean, it could be anything. It's crit damage. It could be. I've seen evasion. I've seen a lot of different things. Okay, a defense break on a chance to strip on the second skill, and then a strip on the first skill as well. Okay, and then with the third would be Silk. Silk is obviously the one that is free-to-play connection, and you can get to start out with. But she has the AoE speed up, AoE speed down on the enemies, and then the single target combat readiness decrease. So those 3 together pretty much bring every single thing that was in the Holy Trinity comp, except for the defense buff for your whole team. Now, if you you could try to find your 4th replacement, maybe some defense-based nuker that has a defense up. I don't even know if there is any right now, not that I could think of. But your 4th, the Holy Trinity comp was great because you can bring your 4th person to compensate with what you're missing or whatever you need, and it's usually a nuker, right? So in my opinion, that 4-star team of just 4 stars is definitely your closest to be newly Holy Trinity comp that you can get. Now, what I also want to talk about is your free-to-play complete optimal comp that you could probably use. Okay, and there's one person that I didn't talk about in any of this, and that's Yuna. So I'm actually very close to getting Yuna, if not already. Yep, so I need 100 more machines, whatever. So Yuna will bring the attack up and the speed up for your whole team for 2 turns, okay? Increasing her own combat readiness. She's kind of like your sub DPS, or even you can probably make her your main DPS on that team. But if you add her and then Clury and Lots, I think Lots would be the only one that is your main person that isn't free to play obtainable. But if you summon enough, you will get her eventually. You could replace Lots with like Jekt, for example. You don't get the combat readiness besides with Clury with her whatever, what do you call it, single random ally combat readiness. You have that, but you put in Jekt, or you could put in you know, Ruzid or whatever the case may be for free to play. But that, in my opinion, is kind of like your best go-to for comparable Holy Trinity comps. So I hope that kind of helps you kind of determine who you want to build if you want to try to build some kind of Holy Trinity comp for a lot of content. Now, a lot of these characters were nature based, however they're your supports. So once you bring your supports, and you know, the main character was Falcon Artillery, and her 3rd skill isn't actually a hit, it's just, you know, an ability. You don't have to worry about elemental advantage. So if your 4th person should be whoever your nuker is, your element advantage type character that you need. The other 3, your Holy Trinity, is just support, so you just build them tanky, or if you're using Yuna, you can build her like a nuker. But that's kind of like your Holy Trinity replacement comps, in my opinion. So if you like my content, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notifications button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.